Hi, this is Ed, and I'm in San Diego, as you can see. Uh, Wonderful to have your attention. Today's broadcast is part of the Communicator of the Year Awards. And today's Communicator Award goes to Mika Cross, and she's from the Washington, D.C. metro area. Her company is called Strategy at Work. I'm going to read this quickly, and she will be joining us live on camera in just a few minutes. Mika Cross is known, very well known, as a workplace transformation strategist and futurist. Work positive, transforming the world of work, one workplace at a time. She's a keynote speaker, advisor, trainer, a Goldman Sachs 10K SP alum. She's a military veteran as an enlisted person, as an officer as well. She's really a strong woman, and I'm really delighted to have her join us in just a couple of minutes. She's in the green room right now. I'm going to open the door. Stand by. We're awaiting the arrival of Mika Cross, coming online from Washington, D.C. area. Hi, Mika. Welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, you look wonderful.
Thank you. So do you.
Yeah, thank you. So this is San Diego from a helicopter. I did not take the picture. That's from the Economic Development Corporation. And it shows the downtown and the convention center, and the island in the bay is a recreational and entertainment area. It's quite nice and very attractive. So I'm showing off my city to the world.
Love it.
Okay, so I just read from your LinkedIn profile as a brief intro just before you entered the green room. And so you'll see that on the recording. And
Okay.
if you need me to make changes, I don't think you would, but uh, then I certainly would. Welcome. And we're honoring you and recognizing you, not for something that you've just done yesterday, but for years. And we've known each other a very long time, and grateful for that, of course, from a business perspective. Mika Cross, this a new company you have now, Strategy at Work?
I've had strategy at work for a while. I just wasn't really branding it outwardly. So, yes, I am owner operator of this veteran-owned small business of mine. I've been in business 100% of the time now for just a couple of years. But, I've been able to do this work for many years throughout my career.
Well, I remember when I was producing the live meetings at the National Press Club in Washington.
Yeah.
You were so kind at when you were involved in different functions, including Department of Labor and other things, and the connections that you brought into those live events were absolutely dynamite for me, and
Thanks.
that's
Yeah.
just terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, how old are your kids now?
Well, they are full-grown adults according to legal standards. So my youngest is now 18 and just completed his first semester as a freshman in college, majoring in economics, and he is pursuing service. So he is a member of the Air Force ROTC program at University of Maryland and loves life and is even training for special warfare, physical fitness, and all that stuff. So he's enjoying it quite a bit. And then my oldest just turned, oh my gosh, I think. She just turned 23. Yes, I had to remember for a minute. She just turned 23 and is a recent graduate of college. She was a pre-med biology major and is taking a gap year. In fact, MCAT testing is today. And so she's in Orange County right now taking her MCATs, or about to start. And she works for a orthopedic institute in Orange County where she's a medical assistant taking her gap year, learning from the doctors there, and will be applying to med school soon this year in aspiration of becoming an orthopedic surgeon.
Does she have any interest in the military?
No interest at all. I keep trying to I keep trying to encourage her because of medical school costs, but that one, no, she claims that she doesn't have the same grit. I beg to differ, and it will be interesting to see if she ever changes her mind because she has time.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Just as because we're on live TV here, just for the sake of audience communications, um, when I got out of college in '68, a long time ago, um, the Vietnam War was going on, and
Mhm.
so I joined the Army Reserve, and I was fortunate to get into a medical unit in Boston,
Mm.
and the medical unit turned out to be a unique experience and changed my life. Um, Itchy nose here. Wonder what that's symptomatic of. But I really love the experience. Uh,
Yeah.
I was a member of a unique unit, a thoracic surgical unit. I was an operating room technician.
Oh, interesting.
And the service that we performed as a reservist, which is like 6 years, I think, a long
Hmm.
time, was I was in hospitals, not in battlefield conditions, and stateside. Uh, we were A1A ready to go on a moment's notice, not because of me, but because of the thoracic surgeons. All of them came from Harvard Medical School, and they're top of the game.
Wow.
And the Army medical leaders,
Hmm.
uh, it was a big deal at that time. It was war,
Hmm.
and everybody got involved in something.
Well, thank you for your service. That's something new I learned about you. And we've known each other for, gosh, I don't even know how long now.
Yeah, a
Almost,
long time. I'm proud of that. I learned a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So I was trained as an OR tech, um, but it, across the years, it actually turned out to be that I was more of put in charge of people relations,
Mhm.
um, uh, with a technical backing, of course, um, and taking care of the family and the people connected with the patient, and as a communicator.
Yeah.
So it's really almost like a straight line from there to here, all these years. Uh,
Hmm.
a lot of twists and turns in between. But I sat in on operations and participated, helping prepare a sterile tray, that kind of nurse kind of background, technician things, uh, many times. And it opened up my eyes to life things that I never had before.
I agree. Same from my service too.
So, where in Maine are you originally from?
So I'm from Bangor. If you're a Stephen King fan, that's pretty much our claim to fame.
That's very, very green and
Yeah,
lakes.
yeah, it's central Maine. So it's about 2.5 hours from Portland, which is the largest city there in Maine, closest to Boston, southern of the state. And then central Maine is Bangor, and we're about an hour from Bar Harbor, which I'm sure you've heard of or maybe even visited.
Bahama. Uh,
Yes.
yes, yes, indeed. Well, I skied in that area and did some summer camp kind of things years
Hmm.
ago. And one of my first jobs after getting out of the Army in the, I was 27 or something like that, 28,
Hmm.
uh, was in a company, a real estate company that owned a lot of real estate in a lot of places. And inside the real estate buildings were movie theaters. They had shopping malls and apartment houses as well in many areas of the US, mainly the Northeast. Um, and I was hired to advise. Actually, I'm not going to make it fancy. I was hired because I was a kid and I loved movies and I could write because in college I was the editor of the newspaper.
Hmm.
So they said, I want you to sit in the screening room in the office and watch these movies is way in advance of when they would hit the theaters. Companies made buying decisions, what they're going to do months later. And so I wrote reviews of the movies like Woodstock or Love Story or
Wow.
crazy movies, to and what would be the who would appeal to and why and what are the limitations and what kind of marketing tie-ins could there be and
Mhm.
what would be the theme advertising thing. So
Mhm.
my specialty in college was advertising and marketing.
Mhm.
So that's why they gave me this responsibility. And if they didn't like what I did, they were going to throw me out. so I, I mostly hit home runs. And one of the winning things, I'll be real brief here, is the movie Woodstock before it hit the theaters.
Mm.
Now, Woodstock was a grungy affair a long time ago in a rainstorm in the summertime. And but it was rock and roll. And at
Yeah.
that time, the college kids in particular uh, got high and went to these concerts. And uh, so Woodstock was a movie that a lot of the older people, uh, I mean, these people were in the 70s and 80s that I was working for, and I was working for the owner's son, who at that
Mhm.
time was 45. Now I was like 27, 28. So you can
Mhm.
see the generational. So I wrote the story about Woodstock after looking at the movie in the office, and the movie was a terrible movie. I mean, the music was good, but the just the scenery was yuck. And so, who would that appeal to? Well, the only people in the world, I said, would be grungy college students. Now they may be smart kids because they go to Harvard or Yale, Princeton, Columbia,
Yeah.
or Ohio State or Iowa State. These are movie theater places, right? Every college campus has a movie theater nearby, including the Ivy League schools in and around New England and New York, New Jersey,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania. So these people owned movie theaters in all of those places. And they said, do you think this would sell? Do you think people would go to this thing? I said, well, the only people who would be kids. And you'd have to increase your cleaning bill expenditures because the theaters will be a mess. It'll be dirty. People will throw cups on the floor rather than pick them up. They'll be grungy. So it's going to cost a lot more to maintain the property. But they'll have a good time. They'll probably come back, buy tickets multiple times because they like the music. And that's exactly what happened with that. And they made buying decisions based on my recommendations and others who also recommended. And it was extremely successful. I mean, talking seven-figure uh, surprise. And they were able to buy the rights to the screenings on release, public release, while nobody else in the industry, again, these are old people and rich people, they owned lots of property. They didn't care about Woodstock.
Mhm.
But the younger kids, the grandkids of these owners, they said, oh, this is going to be cool. And it turned out to be a bonanza, financial bonanza. And so that was my early days success way back then. And it was just happenstance. So here I am today doing a live interview with you, my friend, about your successes early on and how it's led to your obvious success and comfort zone today. And
Yeah, well, I have to add to that because I my mother tells stories about Woodstock because she did attend Woodstock and then ended up um, moving to Maine. She became a little hippie and moved to Maine. She was from New York and went to high school at the Barnard School for Girls in New York City. Okay, so she was a city
that's
girl.
impressive.
She
Impressive.
she was a city girl. And yeah, she tells, well, not all the stories. She tells me a few stories from Woodstock. So small world,
This is
small.
public TV.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So interesting, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
So there came a time when Woodstock became available for the summer drive-in season. And
Interesting.
this company had drive-ins in Saco and Waterville and
Mm-hmm.
the south of Portland area. And
Hmm.
that was part of the bookings that I was involved with,
Okay.
and several others. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, they also had drive-ins and indoor theaters up and down the East Coast, around all the big cities, including college campuses. So it was really an interesting time for sure for me. And so hearing about that part of you, this is just great. So you and I met in the Washington area, and I was trying to have speakers come, and I thought, gee, wouldn't it be great if I got involved with people involved in the government? Now, my attendees, as you may recall, were people involved with talent development, talent recruitment, learning and development,
Mm-hmm.
and relocation, deployments, all
Yeah.
things related. And I know that you were interested in that, and some of your friends across your network. Uh, I'll leave it to you to talk about that, about who they were and what. Um, those are heady days for me. Those were really good days. And what I was doing at the time, I was also publishing print glossy magazines uh,
Oh,
under
yes.
the banner of U.S. Bound. That was the group name that I formed.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
New York
Yeah, I
Times,
remember.
Washington Bound, Connecticut Bound, Florida Bound, California Bound was the biggest. And the Washington Bound, covered the Beltway area about where relocated people could live. And it was divided between executives, so they got houses in, Fairfax or wherever, and but most of the people were younger and in apartments. So we sold advertising to support the print magazines to real estate developers and real estate.
Mm.
And your role at that time, you were was that when you were in Department of Labor or OPM?
No, I think I was just coming out of the intelligence community and had been standing up the award-winning telework programs at the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
And your specialty, if I recall, you were breakthrough. That's so advanced about flex time.
Well, my background was actually human capital and human resources, but keep in mind, my career started in uniform. So in the US military, this highly matrixed, very bureaucratic military organization. And so I served as both as an active duty enlisted soldier for the US Army and then also a commissioned officer and really got to see, thank you, I really got to see HR policy operations from a mission perspective, but also through the lens of the whole person, because we also, and something that the Army did very well, was recognizing the integral, critical importance of the service member's life outside of uniform as a component of mission readiness, meaning supporting their family, their spouses, and understanding all those different nuances that go on in the background outside of work. in terms of how a service member can show up, be focused, drive results, and obviously put their life on the line on behalf of America. And so that was really eye-opening because I was an HR director. It's called the Adjutant General. For one of the most rapidly deployable units. So we had to learn collaboration, communication, effective ways of working across distributed teams on large scale operations, regardless of where or when anyone was actually working, making sure people had the most up to date information, that they were complying with policy, that they were maintaining their deployment readiness, and all of those things, while also making sure that we were meeting deadlines for performance evaluations, promotions, payroll, all of the traditional HR activities. And the one thing that stuck out, especially from supporting the most rapidly deployable units before even 9/11, was the importance and integral role of supporting the whole person, the whole service member, including their family. And when they integrate back, having flexibility to take time off, to make sure that they are taking care of their finances, their mental health, their physical health, and all of those things really was information from me as I was starting my career to take with me and carry over into any position that I was holding. So
Just
before I got started in
yeah,
flexible workplace policy,
yeah.
I was really grounded in, yeah, in traditional HR rule, and also military service, and then carried over into civil service for the federal government.
So you saw firsthand the impact of a relocation, a deployment, if you will,
Mobility, really, yeah.
the impact on people, not just the employee, but the family.
The whole, right, exactly. And that does come down to everything. Are orders being cut? Are there family items and household goods being packed? Are they being communicated? Are we delivering their clothes and furniture on time? Are we making sure the logistics are operating properly in order to get them to where they need to be and prepared for anything, right? So that that's the last thing they need to be thinking about when they're focusing on delivering military readiness on behalf of their jobs.
Family. Let's go back to that. In the current employee relocation business, it's been going on for forever, but it's really grown and developed and diversified. The issue of the spouse, the family,
Mm-hmm.
and and the employee on assignment when they go across border, or
Yeah.
just go to a new town, doesn't have to be international. They're not part of the in group. They're the other. They're the outsider. And it's very, very hard for most transferees to make friends and feel comfortable. It takes a
Mm-hmm.
long time, if it ever develops. This kind of stress on the relationship can wreck that assignment,
Yeah.
wreck that person's career, and maybe wreck that relationship.
Yeah. And
That
the smart employers in this era understand the importance of supporting the trailing spouse or partner and the kids. And so I've worked with organizations, even the federal government, in their recruitment marketing strategy to try to also couple the services, the resources, community resources that are there when you're trying to attract talent and asking them to relocate and the upheaval of their lives and relocate to a different demographic or different state, different, location. It is extremely, extremely impactful to the mission. It's impactful to your resources, your time, your investments when you're talking about recruitment of top talent. And often, as you mentioned, it leads to, if not done well, high turnover at a much earlier state than you would want to do. And then you're back at the drawing board trying to do it all over again. I've heard of organizations out of, here's one. I was working with a company as a subcontractor supporting the Grand Coulee Dam. And they were having such a time being able to fill very high level, well paid positions in that area. And so sometimes they would have even described these experiences where they're recruiting executive level, these are government officials to come into that organization with highly specialized skills in engineering and electrical engineering, all the things. And sometimes they would see the candidate come, and the candidate's like looking at the organization, the facilities, and keeps driving, doesn't even stop for the interview because they did not tell and describe what kind of work environment and life environment and community environment that potential candidate would be experiencing. So we really had to go to work to kind of package a strategic offering that would help organizations like theirs to be able to describe, if you come and live and work here, this is what you're going to expect. Here are the other benefits to helping. We offer relocation support. We offer flexible work schedules. We help you with employee assistance to find a home. If you want to live a little further away in a town, across the state that has better schools, we'll help you understand where to find that. Otherwise, people are just in the dark and they're looking in this very remote location and thinking, no way am I going to work here, and keep on driving. So they don't even stop for the interview. So yeah, these considerations are really significant when you're talking about profitability, performance, productivity, and competitiveness across sectors.
So we're talking about communicating. Uh, I am, as editor and publisher of Global Business News, further developing an idea that I started at the turn of the century, a long time ago, called the Communicator of the Year Award. And which was so around 2000, maybe it was 1999, I don't remember. Philip Berry, who at the time was the global executive for talent development cross border in 60 countries for Colgate-Palmolive Corporation, he and I met when I was producing a meeting in Paris, a live meeting, and he was stationed in this global HR role in Paris. And he became the keynoter at my Paris meeting. And he talked just about the same kinds of things, but from toothpaste and shampoo and those kinds of products, but not only in Paris, but for Washington, D.C., for Zimbabwe and Cape Town, as well as Bucharest, Romania, and Nicaragua, and Mexico City, and Brazil, and Hong Kong. And imagine all the different cultures using the same kind of product. And sometimes you had to make adjustments in that product for the local market and then communicate it to the local audience. In other words, the customers who will buy the toothpaste. And then the people who will be managing all of this process. So anyway, Philip was the original recipient of the very first Communicator of the Year award because how we handled all of that was the winning recipe for Colgate-Palmolive Corporation. And because he did that so well, and is still doing it as a consultant, having retired, but he won all kinds of awards and was recruited to be on the board, the executive board of the City University of New York, which is huge, multi-campus college. And he was also the head of HR and talent development for the Clinton Foundation. And he's been doing some of the things too. So you are the recipient, or one of the recipients this year in this new way of me doing this award, rather than one person out of everybody. There's several people for several reasons. So I'm setting up a series starting right now, this week it started, where I'm launching using Zoom TV and the Global Business Radio audio and the text notes that you see. I have all these note takers to AI. And
Yeah.
it, so it's a full recording of whatever we're talking about at this stage, um, of why you are a communicator, how you are a communicator today in today's environment, which is
Mhm.
very, very different than 25 years ago. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. I mean, I think it's different from year to year. And we're seeing the level of change, don't you think? Even more rapid and tumultuous than ever before. So, the one thing we know as professionals is that effective communication, clarity, and transparency is going to serve you very well.
Authenticity,
Authenticity, for
trust.
sure. Yes.
The current phrase that's really hot in my world, creating and maintaining,
Mm.
creating a psychologically safe workplace
Oh,
environment,
yes.
and then maintaining it. Now, how do you maintain it?
I'm a big proponent of organizational health and performance, which are scientifically proven as drivers of profitability, performance, productivity, and exceptional results. It includes things like integrating psychological safety, work-life harmony, mattering at work, connection to others, understanding the meaning of your job and how it aligns to mission performance and the goals and objectives of an organization. And so all of those components sort of are wheels of healthy workplaces and drivers and accelerators of exceptional results. And so the employers that get it right, including in investing in skill in authentic, transparent, clear communication and timely, are the ones that can outperform, their competitors time after time.
So there's a lot of discord, as we know, in the U.S.
Hmm.
and too much violence for sure. In some of the other shows that I've had this discussion as well. I think that there ought to be a new U.S. based Peace Corps for the
Hmm.
U.S. and social service, mandatory social service for young people, or in maybe others too.
Hmm.
Part of that is not an indoctrination program, but an awareness program of the values of the U.S. Constitution and why the founders didn't do this, but they did that, and that kind of thing. Uh, and of course, it's all interpretive. So that's one of the problems. But it's also an opportunity for conversation across borders, across cultures, across generations,
Hmm.
across silos. And what I have come up with is some kind of service that is doesn't have to be military service, but physical exercise and mental exercise, good grooming, making the bed. Remember that general or the admiral guy who said you got to make your bed before you start your day?
Yeah, put your
That kind of
mindset in
thing.
the right.
Well, so that kind of thinking, not a militaristic danger thing, but there's rules and there's ways of getting things done. And part of that, in my view, is, and this is not religious at all, the Ten Commandments. These are not religious commandments. This is morals. This is norms, social norms.
Mhm.
Uh, from the movie The Ten Commandments and Moses giving them to the Israelites and all that stuff. That's just a dramatization, but it is needed now, right now in the U.S. I think the Ten Commandments are an adaptation of that kind of thing about rules, and the young people don't know that.
Yeah, I think that there have been several initiatives to try to institute like a service corps or something like that. Um, we've seen, oh, I forgot what it's called now. AmeriCorps, I think it was called, and that sort of thing. And some other service-oriented organizations. Right now, the government under this new administration is focused on a tech force trying to bring new technologists into public service to help. Um, so I do believe that finding a way to bring people together is quite important. Yeah, I am a fan of service, obviously, because I come from that. I'm a result of that. But I don't know. I think to your point, there's a lot of divisiveness and not a lot of unity, and we could do a much better job of that.
Right. So let's talk about flex time. That's coming full circle, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've
Because of the
seen this
companies
push.
that dictates to come back to the office 3 or 4 days a week, if not 5 days a week.
Yeah, I think I've seen this push and pull, and then you have too over the years. You, it's not surprising to me. I think what's surprising is that after COVID and after the lessons that we learned during the global pandemic and the data that we have in terms of some of the benefits, the return on investment, the cost savings, and also the level of talent that we were able to enable, in addition to helping rural communities keep and maintain their tax base rather than having talent grow up and get educated and then leave, what we call the rural brain drain. What's surprising to me is that we didn't apply the lessons that we learned during that time. Certainly, there were things we could have done better because a lot of organizations were trying to just plug and play and lift what they thought were work was and was doing well in the office into a remote environment without investing in skills that would really harness the capacity of working together better. But I think we're gonna see a shift again. And this happens with the economy, the job market. It depends on what's going on right now. It's an employer market. So they have the say, they have the power, and right now they're choosing to put down the hammer in some cases. In some cases, the headlines tell a much different story than the data do, though. So, for instance, the majority of employers are still offering hybrid flexibility and often lean on this concept of structured hybrid, which is determining 1 or 2 specific days at the team level where we're going to come together and be in person so that it's more deliberate and meaningful when you are together rather than just bringing your laptop into an office, badging in, checking a box for compliance, and still doing the same kind of work that you would have been doing remotely in a new location.
Well said. So it's a matter of how it's done,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
for sure.
What are you seeing as we come to a close in the next 7 to 10 minutes or so on this? Uh, what are you seeing about attitudes, especially from women, of young young child uh, conflict? I mean, that's the time the kids at that age need involvement with parents, and that's where working from home is perfect
Mhm.
for
Well, for
them.
some jobs, I mean, we have to keep in mind 70% of all of jobs in the US are considered deskless. So these are positions that are not done in a knowledge-based environment. And sometimes we forget that the majority of jobs may not be suitable for remote or fully remote or hybrid opportunities. For instance, in healthcare right now, some are, but not all. So, like a one size fits all approach just simply isn't going to work. And to your point, and what we were talking about earlier, even if you think about it and bring it back full circle, we need what's called strategic flexibility and a workforce plan that is well designed for outcomes. So, meeting the goals of an organization and employers, stockholders, shareholders, executive boards, and your leaders, while also delivering services to their customers and the people they serve and allowing heightened flexibility for different kinds of roles to structure work so that people can bring their best work to the workplace when and where that happens. And so for some, that includes location flexibility, could be fully remote, it could be distributed, it could be partially remote. But even remote workers need flexible schedules at times. And even for those positions that have to be on site, can structure work arrangements such that they're still delivering exceptional results for their employer, but maybe doing it in a different way. So I've seen large scale cities even combine this concept of a 4-day work week. It reduces the amount of voluntary overtime that was being paid out because after 10 hours, who wants to work extra anyway? It allows shift work and different ways of structuring a 40-hour work week into fewer days, which allows more flexibility and freedom for their workers. So it was a win-win for many organizations to think about that. And in the past, we've also heard about structure of flexible work schedules called results only work environment. This could be a combination of what now we're seeing as coffee badging, meaning some work being done in a traditional office setting for the work that has to be done there, and then some done from a non-traditional alternate location, whether that be a home office, a co-working location, or on travel. And so in this environment where you're embracing 5 generations of workers, different preferences, different styles, and ultimately a very heightened, fractured workplace, people have been traumatized. We're coming off the heels still, now 6 years after the global pandemic and everything that changed in life and in work. People are still trying to adapt to that. So having options for different kinds of flexibility, whether that's flexible schedules, flexible work arrangements, flexible work locations, also requires us to invest in skills for leaders to be able to lead teams, regardless of where and when and how they're getting work done.
AI. What do you think of AI?
I think it's great. I definitely see there's a huge opportunity for employers and teams to really, again, invest in the right kinds of skills. It's not going to be enough to just bring in tools and then expect you to do an individual learner-based approach of understanding how to apply those tools to your actual work to enhance it. I don't think there's a risk of losing the majority of jobs to AI because I know people, and right now people are struggling to figure out how can they keep up with this technology. And the moment you learn something, it's iterating, another version's coming out, and there is such a wide range of tools. Where I see the sweet spot for employers and for workers is in terms of these smaller micro credentials that can be brought in at a team level in a psychologically safe, you said it, kind of engaging way. So if we are given permission to learn, test, make mistakes, make fun of each other, iterate in sort of an innovator sandbox in terms of how are we going to leverage these tools and then apply it to our workflow, creating agents, assistants, looking for hallucinations, the more sophisticated levels of use for AI. That's the sweet spot where we can really harness the power. Because right now, most people are using AI as a enhanced Google tool. Like they're using it as Google to search for something, look for something. We haven't even scratched the surface in terms of how you can actually build structure into workflow, leveraging AI power to offload, by the way, some of the minutia of your job. Some of the administratively burdensome pieces of your job, some of the meetings that we have been conditioned to endure in this hustle and meeting culture that we call work. Imagine what a world that would be if we were able to really leverage AI as an assistant to what we do and offset some of that administratively burdened low level kind of work so we can focus on the deep level, more impactful, more meaningful, and purposeful work that enhances our lives and those that we serve.
Well said, my friend. I love one of the phrases you said a lot here, but one of them is just stuck in my mind. I don't want to forget it. I have to ask you for more. The iterative, what? The iterated sandbox.
Yes, yes.
What's that?
Um, it's like in kindergarten, you're show and tell, right? So you bring something new, a new toy, something like this. You're describing it. You go play with it a little bit, and maybe even pass it around. You know. Well, I really feel like the sweet spot for organizations who are getting this right are introducing tools and figuring out how to leverage learning in ways that can stick. And what we're seeing in, for instance, McKinsey's super agency report on the organizations that are doing it successfully and well is you have to have incentives, rewards for doing it. So it's baked into your performance expectations. You have to have the time and resources to learn and learn the way you learn best. The way you learn best, Ed, might be a lot different than the way I learn best. And so having a multi-prong approach. And then at the team-based level, how are we going to agree to start integrating these tools into the way that we are working? What are our office norms, our team agreements for how we're going to leverage it? And can we test it, iterate it, make mistakes, learn from the failures and mistakes, and apply it to doing work better as we learn to integrate the skills and tools together. So, a human in a loop approach is what they call it. But we're talking about an augmented workforce. And let's face it, our generation is the last generation of workers who will manage human only teams. From here on out, most people are going to be integrating teams that do include artificial intelligence, some sort of bots, automation, machine learning, those sorts of things, right alongside the people. So now is the time to really create these test beds of innovation and psychologically safe sandboxes where people can play and learn and grow together in a safe space without risk of failure and being held that, oh, if I don't get it right, if I take it might take me a little bit more time to learn these skills and competencies more so than you, just because of that's how my brain works, that I'm going to be fired because if I don't do it, you know?
So let's talk about the managers of these people that you're referring to.
Hmm.
Where are they coming from? They have to come from within because otherwise, today's workforce isn't going to pay any attention to that manager.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, right? Like the right now, because of all the changes that we're seeing in workplaces, large scale layoffs, restructuring, reorganizations, right sizing, you name it, in the federal government, these efficiency scalings, which is reducing the workforce, kind of carte blanche. We are running into what I like to call the accidental manager. These are the people that are left behind that are then kind of voluntold and put into managerial and leadership roles without the proper training. And they're leading teams and really don't have the skills yet, haven't had the experience yet. I'm
And
not saying they don't have the
the
aptitude,
teams
but
know that that manager doesn't have a clue, and
yeah.
therefore you don't have any respect, and the manager doesn't have any control. What a mess!
Big hot mess. Well, and to your point, the ones that are left behind are often just worried about keeping and maintaining their jobs, their paychecks. And so they're looking heads down at what the next task is. They're not necessarily giving discretionary effort or coming up with any innovative solutions because of the way that workplaces are treating their employees right now.
Mika Cross, congratulations on, and thank you for accepting the award, the
Thank you so
communicator. You're doing so much here in such rapid fire that's intelligently expressed that the audience will out there will probably watch this video and listen to the audio and maybe look at the transcript if I can get that done right. Maybe I'll ask Gemini. So
Oh, yeah.
Google Gemini. I'm a Gemini because my birthday's in June, so I have an immediate relationship with Gemini. It's so kind to me.
Well, thank you so much. I really am humbled and honored. Thank you for honoring me with that award.
Thank you. Please stay involved. Come back on the Global TV talk show when I have other smart people.
Of course.
Enjoy the discussion and help take the discussion even further forward for the benefit of you and me and everybody else out there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I love it. Thanks. Okay. Thanks for being on Global TV.
Thanks for having me yet again, my friend. And hopefully, when I'm down in your neck of the woods, we can get together.
Yes, and when I'm next in Washington, one of those times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to
Keep
the
me
club.
posted.
Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you soon.